Hello and welcome to this video which focuses on the pre-Key Stage standards. I will be giving you an overview of what the pre-Key Stage standards are and how they can support assessment in your classroom. This video has been made by the Specialist Teaching Service in Southend. We work in partnership with schools, parents, children and other professionals. Our service is made up of specialist teachers, HLTAs, outreach advisors and other specialist staff. My name is Becca Regan and I'm part of the Complex and Autism team as well as the P&I team, which supports children and young people with physical and medical needs. After the Rochwood Review in 2015, in 2017 there was a public consultation which looked at the viability of P-scales and whether it was time for a change. Schools were asked to consider a new tool after the decision was made that P-scales were no longer viable. The engagement model and pre-Key Stage standards were brought in as it was time to look for a new way forward for the children with complex needs in not only special but mainstream schools. The engagement model and the pre-Key Stage standards both begin at year 1. No early years assessment should be used at this age. Now let's have a look at the pre-Key Stage standards. From 2021, P-scales were not used and we now use the pre-Key Stage standards which can be seen here. Please note if they are not achieving the pre-Key Stage standards, students are working at the engagement model, and if they are working above the pre-Key Stage standards, they are working at national curriculum level. Outside of the end of Key Stage 1 and Key Stage 2, when pre-Key Stage standards are reported, schools should use their own tracking systems. This could be B-squared or pivots, but if schools don't buy into these tools, we have a system that may be beneficial, which I will look at later. The pre-Key Stage standards are used for children that were working at P5 to P8. There are 3 main areas, writing, numeracy and reading, which are reported at the end of Key Stage 1 and Key Stage 2. In each area there are 4 sets of standards. There are an additional 5 and 6 standards when assessing students at Key Stage 2, which you can see here are considered working towards and working at the Key Stage 1 expected standard. Now let's have a look at examples of the different standards. Each standard comes with level descriptors which can be downloaded from the government website. Here is the example of Standard 1 of Comprehension. As you can see, it starts simply. A pupil being read to by an adult can indicate where the characters are. This could be where's the man or where's the teddy. You are then looking for can the student show anticipation when the page is turned. This is something all staff can access with no training. As we go to Standard 3, this begins to pull apart the task into 2 sections, word reading and language comprehension. This is helpful for students who have a spiky profile, those that can race ahead with some skills and struggle with others. We know that many children with autism can read well and decode quickly, but often they struggle with language comprehension and subtle inference. This means they could be Standard 4 for reading and Standard 2 or 3 for comprehension. It gives teachers a clearer picture of where they are and the skills they need to work on. It can also give a more accurate picture to families and staff. Here are QR codes to download resources from the government website for both Key Stage 1 and Key Stage 2 pre-Key Stage standards. English writing is broken into the composition element and the transcription element. This is helpful for students that may be verbally stronger but struggle with the mechanics of writing. As you can see, the level descriptors are simple and can be easily followed in Standard 1. It helps by taking the fine motor out of writings. Students can be held back in terms of assessment as they haven't been able to physically write the response. This is an example of Standard 2, the next stage up in terms of assessment. It is important to remember that the assessments are judgments at the end of Key Stage 1 and Key Stage 2. They are not targets that should be taught to and shouldn't inform planning. Maths is a more complicated subject that has several elements for each standard. It means it gives a broader range of assessment tools for students. The items used for assessment can be found in everyday life and are not young in age range. This means that the assessment tool can be used for students working at secondary school at this cognitive level. Each standard comes with a set of examples. It can be used if teachers are struggling to make a judgment. Examples are very standard and each subsection of each standard can be found on the government website. Writing, for example, if you have a non-verbal student, you can feel that they are stuck at Standard 1 all of their school career. It's important to use systems in place. This could be ACC, symbols or apps. Remember to collect evidence about day-to-day activities and their response. Have data folders, photos and videos to support this. In Year 6 and Standard 5 and 6. Guidance on how to use these are on the government website. The Specialist Teaching Service has created a developmental scale to support each pre-key stage standards as well as 2 additional standards, independence and science. Here is an example of that scale for numeracy. It provides a list of knowledge and skills that we would want children working on at the same time. It uses RAG rating and has space for comments. It can be completed half-termly or termly to track progress. They all end with the pre-key stage standard highlighted at the bottom, which can be seen here. Here is the example of the English Writing Developmental Scale. This isn't a curriculum or test, and students do not need to do everything to move forward. They need to have a range of skills to work on. It gives a range of activities which can support planning. We have also created a way to measure progress and assess the next steps. This is beneficial in that time from Year 1 to Year 2 and also from Year 2 to the end of Year 6 when children working at this level need to be reported. If you are lucky enough to have access to pivots or B-squared or any pre-prepared tools with those tiny steps, please use those. But we know that many of schools don't have access to this due to finance and the number needed, which is why we have our resources to support you. All this information is within our pre-key stage standards pack. As discussed before, we have a parallel system for independent skills. Many of our students don't learn these skills naturally, and these can also be shared with parents. We have another developmental scale for science to support staff in terms of planning by looking at the 4 developmental levels and how to differentiate skills and knowledge. Now we're going to have a look at examples of children working at the pre-key stage standards and where they would be. Here is Ibrahim. Have a look at what he can do. He can match a circle, square and triangle. He can recognise numbers 1 to 8. What pre-key stage do you think he would be? The answer will be coming up later. This is Sarah. She reverses letters. She can sort some 2D shapes. She is able to recall simple stories. Which pre-key stage do you think she would be? Last example, we have Robert. He is able to match a triangle, square and circle. He shows fleeting attention. He can throw pens or mark-making tools when given, and can become very distressed with either paint or glue on his hands. Knowing what we know about Ibrahim, we would put him as, for numeracy, pre-key stage 2 with elements of 3, for comprehension of reading, pre-key stage 2, and for writing, pre-key stage 1. The information about Sarah means she is working at for numeracy, pre-key stage 3, for reading and comprehension, pre-key stage 3, and for writing, pre-key stage 3. Robert presents as having a spiky profile, which is common and is working both at pre-key stage and engagement model. If young people don't meet the pre-key stage, this is where they are working. We have further training about the engagement model. Please see our other video for this information. As referenced before, we have a pre-key stage pack. Please contact us if you would like more information about this. We are happy to come to school and model and support around the pre-key stage standards. This is our Specialist Teaching Service Padlet page, which has linked to resources that can support around the pre-key stage standards. This is our dedicated YouTube channel where you'll not only find this video, but you'll find many other videos which include sensory circuits and adaptive teaching. So if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Please contact us on this email address for support around the pre-key stage standards. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video about the pre-key stage standards made by the Specialist Teaching Service in Southend.